Part 20. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 191. Before she could go far, Bai Qianchun had a black eye after hearing these words completely, but she tensed up, and no one could see any emotion from her face. Fen Yuyu, who was following behind, couldn't help but stumbled in his steps, his ears burning strangely red, and he almost bumped into Bai Qianchun in front of him. Bai Qianchun's ears twitched and she turned sideways to avoid the figure he bumped into. Fen Yuyu reacted quickly. He leaned forward and leaned back, regaining his footing in time. Then he gritted his teeth and looked sideways at Bai Qianchun with sad eyes. "You don't know how to give me a hand. Anyway, we can. They are also a couple." The brilliance of the 5 source stars shone down, and the lively bonfire party was over. There were only 2 crackling bonfires left in the yard. Bai Qianchun slowly looked away from the quiet dark night sky. Faintly she glanced at him and said, "Fake." The voice was cold and emotionless. Fen Yuyu's expression was stuck, and there was a huge gap in his heart. He said angrily, "You women are really planning to turn your back on me. After all, you have received 200 million in performance fees from me. How can you not be dedicated in the middle? What if someone passes by here and sees you? You think our relationship as husband and wife is not getting along?" Tired Bai Qianchun's light voice was casual and lazy, and she said 2 words without wanting to say more and directly blocked his mouth. Fen Yuyu choked. Good guy, this reason was the one he gave just now. She learned it and used it now. Tisk, okay, anyway, remember not to cheat, otherwise I have the right to recover the performance fee. Bai Qianchun answered him with 2 words, don't worry. Fen Yuyu was completely speechless. 2 words and 2 words jumped out. Can't you say a few more words? He thought about it in his heart, but the tone in his heart could not be filled up enough to explode. Alas, he sighed and thought, could this woman really be his nemesis? He simply calmed down and returned to practical issues. Where will we stay tonight? Bai Qianchun paused, turned her head and looked at him with a frown. Where do we live? Do you want to live with me? Fen Yu's jade ears blushed subconsciously, then she opened her peach blossom eyes, straightened her waist, looked back with a serious look, and pretended to be calm. Otherwise, in the eyes of the eldest sister and others, we are serious people who have received the certificate and registered husband and wife. If we don't live together, they will suspect that there is something wrong with our relationship as husband and wife, which is inconsistent with our previous image of a loving couple. Bai Qianchun pursed her lips and suggested, then let's have a fight now and have a cold war. Fen Yuyu glared and objected resolutely, no, how could a good man who dotes on and protects his wife like me quarrel with his wife? A failed man who wants me to go out to live alone but others think he is kicked out of the room is absolutely impossible. This is about a man's dignity and I will never compromise. Bai Qianchun glanced at him coldly, then go to my room and kneel on the durian, just in time to take a photo for eldest sister to see. Damn it, isn't taking a photo a piece of black history? It's not like he doesn't know who the eldest sister is. If the photo falls into her hands, it's estimated that tomorrow, no, tonight, the 3rd, 4th, 5th and the others will everyone knows that he knelt down on the durian tonight and was a wife slave raking his ears. Coupled with his little loser cousin who loves to watch the fun, and his terrible and unreliable biological father, he can imagine the days in the future when he will be laughed at and unable to lift his head. No, this is absolutely not okay. Fen Yuyu shook his head decisively, mustered up his courage, and said with red ears, it's impossible to kneel to the durian without kneeling to the durian. How about you take me in for one night tonight, and I'll go to your room to make a floor. Tomorrow, I'll think about it tomorrow. Think of ways to. Bai Qianchun sneered, that's a pretty idea, you don't deserve to enter my room. Fen Yuyu's heart dropped into the ice hole, and he looked at her with disbelief. Why? I am handsome, golden, and graceful. I am the best husband candidate in the hearts of many women in the empire. Why? Don't you even deserve a floor bunk? Fen Yuyu narrowed his eyes, his expression more serious than ever before, staring at her, as if she would never give up unless she came up with a clear reason. Creak. Suddenly there was a creaking sound from a branch, as if someone was stepping on something, and Fen Yuyu and Bai Qianchun's ears twitched. Bai Qianchun restrained her cold eyes, her eyes were shining, and she became much calmer under the light of the 5 source stars. Fen Yuyu's face changed faster, with a face full of bitterness and hatred. She turned angry and serious into a sweet and doting wife persona instantly, and her acting skills were even more exquisite. Her romantic and affectionate peach blossom eyes were now full of the girl in front of her, full of love. Deep affection. He said with a sultry voice, "Honey, I heard something moving over there. Could it be some kind of rat stealing food? Let's go over and have a look." Bai Qianchun glanced at him and nodded slightly. "Well, let's go." Due to Fen Yuyu's approach, the two of them pressed their arms against each other through their sleeves. They walked towards the direction of the sound as if they were lovers. It seemed that the two were taking a leisurely stroll, but in fact they were walking as fast as flying. In the blink of an eye, they arrived there in a few seconds. The place where the sound originated was under a dimly lit tree. Puyi didn't even have time to escape, so he could only stand there, eyes wide open, helpless as he watched him move from far to near and then to the front. Bai Qianchun raised her eyebrows, a little surprised. "It's you." Puyi raised the corner of her mouth and smiled coquettishly. "Yes, it's me, Mrs. Feng. Good evening, young Master Feng. You guys are taking a walk in the evening. It's so nice, so sweet. I won't bother you anymore. Goodbye." After she finished speaking, her heart was pounding, and her nervous hands tightly grasped the hem of her clothes, intending to escape from here immediately. "Wait, stop," Fen Yuyu said coldly. He didn't have such good patience with other women, and the coldness and murderousness he had learned in the army came out. Puyi was so frightened that he stood stiffly on the spot, his whole face was about to cry without tears, he was so miserable now. "She won't be killed and silenced. Turn back." Puyi subconsciously obeyed the order and turned around with a sad face. Fen Yuyu, Bai Qianchun, and Bai Qianchun had expressionless faces, and their eyes were filled with cold light. If you look closely, you can see that the coldness on their bodies is exactly the same. Seeing Puyi's expression, what else could they not understand? She must have heard everything they said just now. Even Ye Yang and Leng Xiao, who are closest to Bai Qianchun, don't know the secret. The only insider on Fen Yuyu's side is Yao Wengxian. Now there is a fourth person who knows the secret, and this third person, the 4 of them are also among the many wild bees and butterflies in Fen Yuyu. Obviously, Fen Yuyu had also remembered this face. He narrowed his eyes and said in a dangerous tone, "Puyi. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs." Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 192. Bai Qianchun raised her eyebrows and looked towards him. "Do you know me?" Fen Yuyu also turned to look at her, the coldness on his face disappeared, a casual chuckle appeared at the corner of his mouth, and his voice sounded low. "Well, my memory is so good, and this person has been in front of me so many times. How could I not remember this time?" "Yes," Bai Qianchun responded lightly. "How are the forces behind you? Is it troublesome to deal with them?" Puyi's thin body trembled, and she looked over with a look of astonishment on her face. She was cruel, she was really cruel, no matter whether she was really Mrs. Feng or not, she couldn't afford to offend her. The only happiness in her heart was gone. She opened her mouth to beg for mercy, but Fen Yuyu glanced at her with a cold glare. She trembled and shut her mouth in fear. At this time, Fen Yuyu's cold voice sounded like a devil. "Viscount Puyu's family, The original Earl's palace of the Pu family has been going downhill since his useless grandfather, until now it has been reduced to after entering the baronial palace, neither her biological father nor her eldest brother were talented and capable people, they were mediocre among mediocre. The Pu family had nothing except the wealth left by their ancestors. Their connections, power, and military power had been wasted by their generation. There is not much left, and the remaining wealth is still coveted by countless people. This Pui is the only junior in the Pu family who has some talent and can still see. But the problem is not big. The Pu family values boys over girls. Even if her eldest brother is mediocre, he will still be the heir. And her talented daughter is regarded as the best bargaining chip for marriage. If she is gone, our family doesn't have the ability to blame us. The most likely option is to swallow this breath and let the matter rest in peace. Puyi felt like a fish on the chopping board, her whole body was cold, her blood was flowing backwards, and her teeth were chattering with fear. She was wrong, she was really wrong, she shouldn't have come out at night, and young Master Feng actually treated her family. The situation is so clear that it is terrible. Bai Qianchun's eyes flashed slightly, and she regarded Puyi as nothing, and said to Feng Yuyu, "You are quite clear in your investigation." Feng Yuyu smiled and said proudly, "That's right, I have investigated the women who hang out in front of me the most. A man like me who combines wealth, beauty, wisdom, and power will always meet. There are many people on the internet who are jealous and plot against me. They always want to investigate the people around them clearly and then defeat them one by one. I just finished investigating their information a few days ago. I originally planned to return to the main star from Jupiter. I slowly disposed of them without attracting attention, but now one of them is delivered directly to my door." Bai Qianchun looked at his demonic and beguiling face, and a slight smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. She knew that this man was not a good-tempered person. He had allowed the bees and butterflies to come one after another without fighting back, and only relied on his venomous tongue to let them know. They retreated but did nothing. In fact, ruthless means were hidden behind their backs, waiting to give them a fatal blow. "Then how did you plan to deal with her?" Bai Qianchun glanced at the trembling Puyi curiously. "Well, wait a moment." Seeing the rare curiosity in her eyes, Feng Yuyu was faintly excited, and then saw him turn on his optical brain, flipping out the plan written by his subordinates, and quickly read it 10 lines at a time. Finally, he coughed lightly and said slowly, "The people below me discovered during the investigation that Shui Ziyu, the second son of the Shui family, was very successful in the ring with his eldest brother. His wife died a few days ago, and he turned to he is eyeing the Pu family's wealth and wants to marry Puyi as his stepwife. The Shui family, one of the 4 great dukes. Yes, that's their family. The eldest son of the Shui family controls most of the military power of the Shui family. The second son Shui Ziyu is unconvinced and has been supporting his own forces to compete with Shui Zidao for inheritance rights. If Shui Ziyu and Puyi become friends, Shui Ziyu will get wealth to fill the vacancy. The strength will increase, and the Pu family will also have their dreams come true and climb into the Duke's mansion, getting the best of both worlds. I can be considered a good deed." Feng Yuyu felt that his plan was reasonable and legal, and he was very considerate of others. Bai Qianchun's mouth twitched. "Are you sure that as Shuizuoyu gains wealth and becomes stronger, the internal fighting will not get worse? The most terrifying and frustrating thing is when a family fights within a family and consumes it, right?" But Puyi couldn't hold back her tears anymore. She shook her head vigorously. "No, no, no. Although my father is more partial to the older brother, he is also very good to my daughter. He wants money to give money to others, and he is the only one. The request is that you want me to marry you, Mr. Feng. No matter how much my father sells his daughter for glory, he will never let me marry an old man whose son is older than mine as a stepwife. My father also told me about this matter. As I said, he will never agree to it, and he also wants to save face. Young Master Feng, young Madam Feng, I swear that I will never tell anyone about you, and I will never appear in front of you again in the future. You believe me? Bai Qianchun glanced over. What do you think? Feng Yuyu laughed mischievously. Let her cry a little longer and repent, so as not to forget too quickly. Bai Qianchun, I have poison. I guarantee she won't dare to say anything. And this girl is not hopeless. She had heard her chatting with several sisters before, and she seemed to be planning to change her target and stop staring at Feng Yuyu. Feng Yuyu, you still have a way, but you still have to let her cry for a while. This woman is evil. It makes no sense for her to stand here. Even the two of us can't notice it. Bai Qianchun was silent, a gloomy look flashed in her eyes. Indeed, she was an SSS level wood-type superpower, and Wu Yuan Star was still her territory. She didn't notice Pui standing here until she stepped on a branch. Only then did I realize that there was definitely a problem here. So Bai Qianchun stopped showing pity for her and allowed Puyi's panicked cries to spread in the quiet forest. Feng Yuyu was so narrow-minded that he actually took out a plate of fist-sized cherries on the spot, intending to divide the fruits like children and watch a show while eating. Bai Qianchun took the cherry from Feng Yuyu and asked subconsciously, have you paid? Feng Yuyu's smile faltered and he snorted, if you pay, then you know money, money, money. I think you are really obsessed with money. Bai Qianchun didn't take it seriously, took a bite of the cherry and said casually, because I'm short of money. To be honest, from her previous life to now, she has been either short of money or on the road to being short of money. There have been few days when she has been rich and not worried about money, so it is not wrong to say that she is obsessed with money. When Feng Yuyu heard this, he thought it was a psychological defect caused by her experience of being inferior to a maid since childhood. He frowned and the cherry in his mouth no longer felt sweet. It's all the fault of that old guy from Baijuanquan who occupies the magpie's nest. Do you need me to help you deal with the people over there? He asked in a soft voice subconsciously. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 193. Bai Qianchun glanced at him in surprise, but still replied, no need now, Bai Zhuangquan is very capable and has deep roots in the Bai family. Even after driving him away, all I got was the empty shell of the Duke's palace. And it's not convenient for you to interfere in the affairs of the Ninth Army. There is an unwritten rule of non-aggression between legions. Even Sheng Baining cannot interfere with both the Sheng family's 2nd Legion and the Huo family's 31st Army. Since Sheng Baining has now if she chooses the door of the 31st Army, then the 2nd Army will never open for her, even if she is a member of the Sheng family. Unless Sheng Baining announces her retirement to the entire empire and withdraws from the 31st Army, she only after a few years can they pass numerous tests and then enter the 2nd Army. Therefore, in the same way, Feng Yuyu, as a member of the 3rd Army, must not interfere in the affairs of the 9th Army, otherwise it may be counterproductive and make the 9th Army misunderstand that he wants to annex the 9th Army. Bai Qianchun was the fuse behind the 9th Army. He would only be ostracized, and the possibility of being promoted to a higher position would be greatly reduced, which would instead give Bai Zhuangquan a chance. Feng Yuyu raised the corners of his lips. Yes, it was really hard for him to interfere in the Legion's affairs, but he could find fault with the old man for other small matters. He glanced at the girl next to him who was covered in silver. Seeing her beautiful and soft face that was calm and her eyes cold, he immediately made up his mind to take care of that old guy Bai Zhuangquan. Investigate. But he was not in a hurry to take credit. He just listed the business intersections between Feng Group and Bai Zhuangquan in his mind, thinking about where he could start to test his skills first and give the old guy some cuttings. As for leaving the big part for this woman to take care of, it would be easier to take revenge herself. He believed that with how hard this woman could hold him down on the washstand, the old man Bai Juanquan was definitely no match for her. Thoughts were flying in her mind, and after the thoughts flashed through her mind, Bai Jianchun had finished chewing 2 big cherries with an expressionless expression, and the mournful crying in her ears became more and more painful. Seeing Puyi's tears falling more and more like a downpour, Fen Yuyu ate the cherry on his lips in 2 bites, and then asked slowly, "What method did you use just now to make people unable to notice your existence?" Puyi cried as if her parents were dead. The more she cried, the sadder she became, and she couldn't stop at all. Fen Yuyu frowned and stared impatiently with a pair of peach blossom eyes. "Stop crying, you are the reincarnation of a crybaby. If you cry again, I will let you cry until all the tears run dry." Puyi's frightened voice stopped abruptly, her hazy eyes were filled with tears, and she felt extremely aggrieved. This couple, no, this fake couple had no scruples in revealing another big secret in front of her. The secret, this is obvious, is that she is not regarded as a living person, and is going to turn her into a dead person. Can she not cry? She still has a good life, why is she so unlucky to encounter this? Answer the question, what method did you use just now? Puyi blinked slowly and asked himself a question. Does this mean that he still has a chance to see tomorrow's sunrise alive? Regardless of whether it was true or not, she quickly seized the opportunity to tell her little secret like a dumpling. She wanted to exchange her little secret for the big secret she just heard. Even if it couldn't be equal, it would be good to offset part of it. That was my power just now. I am a wood-type power user, but I am not good at inducing plants to grow, but I am good at empathizing with plants, that is, breathing in sync with the surrounding plants. As long as I hide it well, no one will see it. See, even SSS level superpower users have a hard time spotting me. When my superpower level reaches S level or SSS level, I have a hunch that I can still hide in trees. At first, I should be like a chameleon, able to adjust to the surrounding environment. By performing my own mimicry, even if the enemies are all around me, they still think I'm just a tree and can't find me. She tried very hard to explain her abilities, making her abilities as useful and magical as possible. She hoped that the 2 people in front of her would be happy with Li Xian and spare her life because of the special nature of her abilities. It's good to use it for your own use. Maybe she can find another way out. After Puyi finished speaking, he looked at the 2 people in front of him anxiously. Not surprisingly, both Bai Jianchun and Fen Yuyu did become somewhat interested in her ability. Fen Yuyu said casually, "He is a good candidate for scouts and lurking soldiers." Bai Jianchun's eyes were dark. "It gave me a new idea, maybe I can study the concealment pill or the concealment pill." Fen Yuyu's ears twitched and he looked towards her with a smile. The person who tested the medicine on the Yao Guang star didn't deliver the result. Why don't you stay and study this one? I guarantee that this one will definitely not escape. Puyi's eyes brightened with tears and she became nervous. Who was the person testing the medicine? But no matter who it was better than being killed now. She thought that she could not escape the Feng family's sanctions with the little power behind her. What's more, this is Muyuan planet. Here, this young lady Feng has the right to make laws. If she is arbitrarily accused and killed, she will not be able to escape. Bai Jianchun studied Puyi's face for a few seconds, which made Puyi's legs tremble. Then she said, "I'm busy recently and don't have time to research new pills. But it's really a pity that this person dealt with it. Let's feed some poison first and leave it there. It won't be too late to call back 20 people who will test the poison later." Fen Yuyu glanced around Puyi's timid face, thinking that she didn't have the guts to reveal the secret, so he was too talkative and did not refute Bai Jianchun. "Okay, I'll do as you say. How many drug testers do you have here? How many are still missing?" Bai Jianchun paused, the one in front of me is short of 19. Fen Yuyu's mouth twitched, this woman had no feelings before. But according to her poor net worth, this was to be expected. It was understandable that he put his hand on his forehead helplessly. Okay, if you encounter someone else who comes to your door in the future, I will keep it for you and send it over. Bai Jianchun glanced at him and finally smiled at him, thank you in advance, but the people who test the medicine are not the ones that ordinary people can do. You choose someone who is stronger, or someone who is pampered but has weak immunity. It's good in all aspects. This type of person's health can withstand the strong effects of the medicine and they won't die so quickly. Okay, this is too picky, but Fen Yuyu still agreed, okay, I will give them a physical examination first, but the average body that can get in front of me will not be a big problem, otherwise they are lucky enough to reach high places but not lucky enough to enjoy themselves. The family behind their family is not that stupid. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 194. Fen Yuyu's smiling lips were filled with sarcasm. Puyi on the side felt the hair stand on end all over his body. Oh my god, what does I won't die so soon mean? Does it mean that people will still die? She was just glad that she had broken the curse of death, but now she was given a head-on blow, telling her that her death crisis had not passed yet, and there was still a sharp machete floating on the top of her head. What kind of evil has she done? Why should she endure such unbearable pain at such a young age? But even so, Puyi still didn't dare to resist with reason. After all, she was still alive, and there was hope for her. As for the 19 unknown brothers and sisters in trouble in the future, Puyi sincerely hopes that they will arrive soon. Afterwards, Bai Jianchun gave her 10 days of pain, and Fen Yuyu asked her to wear a monitor, and repeatedly threatened her not to tell anyone about what happened tonight, especially if she was not worthy of laying the floor, which would damage his perfect image. Not a word should be revealed. Puyi secretly felt that young Lord Feng, who was not even worthy of building a floor, was quite impressed. He felt secretly happy in his heart, but on his face, he nodded repeatedly like a chicken pecking at rice, and swore to the sky that I definitely wouldn't dare. I just came here tonight to look for something I dropped in the afternoon. After I found the thing, I went back. I didn't meet anyone on the road, and I didn't hear anything. Bai Jianchun and Fen Yuyu nodded in unison, feeling that this girl was pretty good. Puyi secretly breathed a sigh of relief and asked timidly, then, can I go back now? Bai Jianchun didn't answer immediately, looking at her with a pair of dark eyes. Have you found the things you dropped this afternoon? Puyi nodded obediently. I've found it. I've found it. It's the necklace my grandma gave me. I stepped on a branch just to pick it up. In fact, she felt depressed. If she hadn't stepped on a branch, she might have been able to get away with it. Bai Jianchun seemed to have read through her thoughts, and his eyes fell on her with a smile, but not a smile. You should thank your elders for the protection that allowed you to be caught and exposed, otherwise what would happen if you revealed the matter? That's it? She hadn't finished speaking, but Puyi could already deeply feel the freezing cold air and the hair-raising suffocation feeling rushing towards her face. I believe that the consequences were definitely not something she could bear. She trembled all over and quickly praised exaggeratedly, yes, yes, thank you to my great-grandma. Bai Jianchun glanced at her, her mood improved, and the pressure suddenly decreased. Okay, you can go. Puyi felt happy in her heart, and looked at Fen Yuyu, who looked casual and showed no displeasure. She was even happier, but she still suppressed the excitement that she was about to be out of the sea of suffering, and said politely to the two of them. After the noble said goodbye, he turned around and hurriedly left this place where he almost lost his life. If she doesn't come, she won't come. She won't dare to come out at night anymore. She can't bear the consequences. Bai Jianchun and Fen Yuyu didn't stay where they were. This place was close to the treehouse and the village. After one Pui, there was no guarantee that there wouldn't be another Pui. The 5 stars in the high sky at night still shine with brilliance conscientiously and serve as lighting tools, but their effect on the Jupiter star is minimal. The giant tree towered into the sky, and the lush branches and leaves blocked the giant forest into darkness. Only tiny star points scattered from the gaps in the leaves, which added a little visibility to the surroundings and prevented them from falling into total darkness. Bai Qianchun and Feng Yuyu walked one after another on a path that was only allowed for one person to walk. Feng Yuyu put his hands in his pockets and walked calmly with his long and slender legs. He raised his eyelids and looked at the woman walking in front of him with a pair of peach blossom eyes. It seemed that there was no sound of footsteps. He was speechless and complained in his heart. Is this woman so light? She felt like she was floating. Maybe those who are timid can still do it. I thought I met a female ghost. After walking for about 10 minutes, Feng Yuyu's patience finally ran out due to the trouble of branches that kept catching on his clothes. He frowned and shouted to the woman leading the way, "Hey, we still have to go. How long, and where are you going?" Bai Qianchun's steps didn't stop, but her voice floated over faintly, "Go to my Star Lord's mansion, we'll be there soon." Feng Yuyu shut up and felt satisfied. The Star Lord's mansion must have better conditions than those stone houses. This woman has a conscience. A minute later, Feng Yuyu pointed to the manor in front of him that had the image of a haunted house. The atmosphere was extremely well set off, and the iron gate was still rusty. His peach blossom eyes widened in shock, and his fingers trembled. You said this haunted house is the Star Lord's mansion? Are you sure you're not fooling me?" Bai Qianchun tilted her head and rolled her eyes at him. "What good can I gain by lying to you? Do you want the entrance fee to the haunted house?" Feng Yuyu choked, and after making sure that there was no joking on her face, his face immediately became tangled, and he asked with an indescribable expression, "Why is your Star Lord's mansion so broken?" Bai Qianchun opened the iron door and led the way, while answering him bitterly, "The previous Star Master was blind, and was deceived by the construction engineering team. Being the new Star Master, that's really bad." Feng Yuyu frowned and recalled the first negative teaching material circulated among many Star Masters, the 37th Muiyuan Star Master Wang Ziyi. When he took over Jin Yuan seeing from his unreliable biological father, Wang Ziyi's terrible thing was not dead yet, but he had already heard a lot of bad things about this piece of shit. His old man also used this terrible thing as a negative lesson for him. He gave him several examples of the stupid things Wang Ziyi had done since he took over Muiyuan Star, and urged him not to be like this thing. People on Jinyuan Star are filled with resentment as they do all kinds of things, and they are trying to commit suicide. Feng Yuyu learned his lesson and actually avoided several loopholes, making Jinyuan Star prosperous, with a large number of stars, so he was quite impressed by this negative teaching material. Looking at the Star Lord mansion in front of him, which had turned into a haunted house after just 4 years, Feng Yuyu immediately thought that this was indeed the case. Isn't it normal for Wang Ziyi, a stupid fool who doesn't know himself and thinks he is smart, to be deceived? If he were a liar, he would also deceive this girl. However, the evil that Wang Ziyi had done was now borne by the successor Star Master in front of him. He was sympathetic but also a little amused. This woman's luck is really bad. Even if Huo Quancheng took over the most unpopular Dark Source Star, the previous Star Master of the Dark Source Star also left a large amount of wealth for him to inherit, but this woman has not even been elected as the Star Master. Not only did he not inherit a single star coin, but he also inherited a mess. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziyi. Chapter 195. A few days ago, when he was chatting with a friend from the Interstellar Taxation Bureau, he overheard him saying that the new owner of Muiyuan Star was pitiful. It was said that after inheriting Muiyuan Star, she had to pay Muiyuan tax before she could get any benefits. Seeing owed 400 million in taxes a few years ago. Well, I discovered another reason why she got into money. Thinking again of the empire's intervention policy for planets that couldn't pay taxes on time, Fenyuya coughed and glanced at the woman beside him with a little pride in his heart. His voice was sultry, like a big-tailed wolf with its tail raised. Do you need to borrow star coins? Since your name is also on my household register, I can lend you star coins without interest to pay your taxes. Bai Qianchun pushed aside a corn cob on the side of the road with one hand. Her steps were slow and her voice was calm. I've already paid the tax. Fen Yu immediately thought of the 150 million Yao Wengxian paid for the medicine, plus the 200 million he had given her in performance fees before, as well as the deal she made with Li Heun on the Yao Guang star, and suddenly secretly thought that this was a mistake. Although the woman is obsessed with money, she has to say that her ability to collect money is also first-rate. It has only been a few days, and as far as he knows, it has already exceeded 400 million. They will have to find her for the vitality pill in the future. For business, it's no problem to pay taxes, there's really no need to borrow from him. He was secretly annoyed, but he still tried to save his respect. Oh, then we still need to build Muyuan Star. The construction of Muyuan Star is very expensive. If you don't have enough star coins, you can ask me to borrow them without interest. Unfortunately, Bai Qianchun still rejected him. I don't like borrowing money, I prefer free help. Fen Yu choked up again. Haha, this woman was hinting to him that she preferred the white wolf with empty gloves, just like how she used to ride on his Feng family's transport ship for free. As a person with an excellent business acumen, his bottom line is not to pay interest, so it is absolutely impossible to rush to provide door-to-door services for free. Fen Yu firmly set a flag in his heart. In the future, Fen Yu, who would offer things to his wife with both hands but wouldn't accept it, doesn't know one thing now. Flags are always meant to be broken, so you can't set flags randomly. Okay, here we are, this is where we'll stay for the night. The southwest corner of the large manor that looks like a haunted house has been cleaned up by Ye Quan and Ye Qiang's father and son. They also brought a group of old men and women from the village here to have a battle with a group of piranha flowers. Now it seems that the results are very gratifying. The father and son created an open space in this corner and built a courtyard in the manor. The open courtyard was surrounded by a bamboo fence and in the center was a two-story building. The outside of the building was not expensively decorated. The decorations are only simple marble houses, which look very much like the ancient architectural style of Suzhou Gardens, with wooden carved doors, black tiles and cornices, and solid red columns. There is also a small lotus pond next to the small building, with lotus leaves and large water lilies blooming quietly. It would have been a more beautiful scene if we had seen it during the day, but unfortunately in this dark night, with the shallow silvery glow of the source star, we could only see the nearby scenery. Fen Yu stood outside and watched it. His expectations, which had dropped to a very low level, were slightly raised. At least it looked much more elegant than the rough stone houses in the village. However, when he walked into the house and turned on the lights, his expectations dropped to the bottom again. As soon as I entered the door, the whole room was empty, not even a table leg could be seen. The pale light fell, illuminating a large area of the whole room in pale white. Bai Qianchun didn't notice anything, and even walked around the empty first floor with great satisfaction. In just 3 days, Ye Quan and his son were able to build the house like this. It was already very good. Even the base of the wall was painted. There is only a living room, a room, and a kitchen on the first floor. An internal bathroom is built in the room, but it is empty, with only a structure and nothing else. The counter in the kitchen has been set up, but the cabinet doors have not been installed. There are only some pots and pans, which were obviously prepared in advance by Ye Yang and Leng Xiao, who knew her best. For her, the kitchen is not a business, but a place for making meatballs and making medicine. After looking at the first floor, Bai Jianchun walked up to the second floor. Feng Yuyu was like a follower wherever she went. He also walked up with his long legs and the momentum of walking on the red carpet. On the second floor. The second floor looks more popular. It is covered with light green floral wallpaper. It is covered from the stairwell to the two rooms on the second floor. Compared with the paleness downstairs, it is a little fresher here. A little, but also warm. Bai Jianchun looked at the wallpaper in the Zhenlong city style and the familiar colors on it. The corners of her mouth raised slightly, and the expression on her face softened. She had a very deep memory of this wallpaper. It was the wallpaper that she and her eldest sister had taken a liking to at first sight, but the store that sold the wallpaper was familiar with the Red Indus people, and was particularly unhappy with them, the shame of the Indus Tower and the Purple Indus people. Friendly, they also deliberately doubled the price. At that time, they were too short of money to afford it. They were still very aggrieved for several days. They even sat in rows together on the stairs of Ziwutong's small building and cursed. People with red sycamore trees are shameless. As a result, the people from Hungwutong who were passing by happened to overhear. The teams from both sides got angry, and a chaotic melee broke out on the spot. In the end, of course, the people from Ziwutong defeated the many with less, beating the people from Red Wutong until their noses were bruised and their faces were swollen, and they couldn't even get up. Thinking of the high-spirited and triumphant laughter of everyone in Ziwutong after winning the battle together, Bai Jianchun couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth, stroking the wallpaper with her fingers, and her dark and cold eyes also overflowed with joy and joy. Feng Yuyu was so frightened that she thought she was thinking of some lover, her eyes were so tender and watery. After all, this woman is usually so cold, and her parents and relatives all died before she was born and could not remember anything. What else could make her show such an expression besides her lover? Feng Yuyu felt that his guess was correct. He felt uncomfortable for no reason, but he couldn't care less. The marriage agreement between the two parties did not stipulate that the other party could not cheat. But when he thought of this possibility, he felt a sense of aggrieved and aggrieved. The feeling of being cuckolded. However, he didn't stand up to question him. His breath was confused for a few seconds and he turned away his head in a sour mood. He kept hypnotizing himself in his mind. This was none of his business. It had nothing to do with who this woman, the ancient doctor, liked. Bai Jianchun didn't even know that the man's thoughts were twisted in all kinds of twists and turns, and she was still immersed in memories. After all, they didn't wait until their Ziwutong wallets were full to buy this wallpaper, because later the owner of this store failed in the competition and died in the ring. After the owner changed, the price of the wallpaper returned to the original price. Originally, he planned to go to the store to buy it together after the eldest sister and the others brought back the money from their mission, but who knew they would encounter that nuclear bomb. Now they are separated from the eldest sister in two different worlds, but she still used the light green floral wallpaper after all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 196. Hey, is this wall so beautiful? I still have rose gold wallpaper in my battleship warehouse. Do you want it? I'll sell it to you cheaper. As if isolated in a quiet building in a giant forest on an isolated island, Feng Yuyu couldn't help but speak out to break the damn silence and bring Bai Jianchun back to reality. Bai Jianchun paused while stroking the wall with her fingers, and glanced at him lightly from the corner of her raised mouth. No, but I can accept it for free. Feng Yuyu saw that the ancient doctor who had been obsessed with money had returned, and he immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and his face returned to his usual lazy and casual attitude. He subconsciously replied, "That's not okay, business. The greatest sincerity of a person is to sell at cost price, and free means selling at a loss. As long as you are not stupid, it is impossible to make a loss-making transaction. Bai Qian-chun withdrew her hand from the wall, turned around and walked towards the room on the left, and answered the question casually and casually. Then there is no service to reward old customers or give small gifts to attract new customers. It should also be included in the marketing strategy. Feng Yuyu looked proud. Others need this kind of marketing strategy, but my Feng group doesn't use it. Only those people come and beg to buy things. There is no need to give discounts at all. Sometimes they still give gifts and want to grab them right of first refusal. Bai Qian-chun, it's so sour. But think about Feng Yuyu's genuine star. It is the energy reserve that supplies almost the entire Huayao Empire. 90% of the empire's mineral resources come from here. The Feng group is unique in this regard and has almost formed a monopoly. It is true that others are begging him to buy it, so there is no reason why it cannot be sold. She admired it. If she inherited Jinyuanxing, she would probably be able to make a lot of money by mining, and there would be no need to go out to attract business and develop it. This man is so damn lucky, it's not impossible to say that he is the god of wealth. Facing her envious and jealous eyes, Feng Yuyu touched his face and raised the corners of his mouth crazily. Are you envious? Just when Bai Qian-chun was wondering if her would make this man stick his nose in his eyes, she heard him say in a very sullen and unsatisfied voice, there's nothing you can do about envy. No matter what power you awaken, you can inherit any source star. It depends on natural luck. Most people like me, who are born with good luck and wealth, cannot envy them, and it is useless to envy them, because you are not like me, and you are not so lucky. Bai Qian-chun's heart broke. Her fist was hard. She pointed in the direction of the stairs and said coldly, go to the empty room downstairs and sleep. Feng Yuyu's raised mouth froze, and her proud expression turned into disbelief. A pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes stared at her. Let me sleep in that empty and rough room downstairs? Is this how you treat your husband? Bai Qian-chun corrected him again, in name only. Feng Yuyu frowned. Even if you are a husband in name only, you can't be so perfunctory. He pointed at the well-appointed room after opening the door and said dissatisfiedly, look at your room. It has a high bed, warm pillows, and even gauze curtains. It looks like a bedroom that is a combination of an ancient lady and a modern princess. Why should I live in such a simple rough house? Although his eldest son had grown up in hardship and was not afraid of living in a more difficult situation, he refused to be treated unfairly. His logic is this: if you want to suffer, everyone can suffer together, but why should you enjoy happiness while I have to suffer? Bai Qian-chun also took a look at the layout of the room. She was familiar with every place. The bed was the large carved bed she was used to sleeping in the Ziwutong bedroom, but half of the top of the large carved bed had already been removed. It was damaged by insects, so Ya Yang and Leng Xiao simply dismantled the upper part, erected 4 thin red pillars around the bed, and installed a fluttering white palace gauze curtain and a simple. The large carved bed becomes a European-style princess bed. In addition, there was a dressing table on the bedside that she was also used to, a carved bedside table on the right, and even the small bookshelf and books in her bedroom were moved over. This room was twice as big as her room in Ziwutong. Although the two boys copied the layout of her bedroom, they were still not satisfied with it. They also added an exquisite desk for her, with soft and pastoral style. The hoo-hoo chair was something she had noticed in the furniture store but had not bought. The floating window was hung with 2 layers of white silk and gauze curtains, which were purchased from the curtain shop next door. There is also a purple ginseng on the table next to the window. It is thicker than an arm, and the porcelain white flower pot can hardly contain it. There is also a fist-sized ginseng dangling on the top of the big ginseng. The purple flowers are as clumsy and cute as the 2 boys who decorated the room. Although the layout of this room is such that the designer would cry that his job was ruined, it can be seen that these two guys have tried their best to decorate it carefully with all their aesthetics. From every detail, you can see their serious clumsiness, but also their caring and cute nature. Bai Qian-chun chuckled softly, and the smile did not fall when he turned his eyes back to Fen Yuyu's face. Why, given my acquired popularity, if you have the ability, you can have someone come over and help you decorate the room. Didn't I ask someone to come over to betray the gang? Fen Yuyu complained in his heart. This woman is very bad. She just wants him to make a fool of himself and betray the gang, but he doesn't want to. But that kid Yao Wengxian is almost at Muyuan planet, so he can be summoned. Seeing his thoughtful look, Bai Qian-chun didn't have time to hang around with him anymore. She waved her hands and said ruthlessly, "Anyway, the room downstairs has been arranged for you. You can live in it wherever you want. If you want to live more comfortably, just do it. You can decorate it yourself. If you don't want to do it, you can also set up a tent in the room. Anyway, there are not many opening hours left in Wuyuan Star, and you can't stay for a few days. If you can bear it a little longer, you can leave here and return to your high bed and warm pillow. Also, even if this place is dilapidated, it is still a Star Lord's mansion. Usually no one will come here, so you don't have to worry about getting involved. Well, that's about it. I have something to do in the evening, so you can do whatever you want." With that said, Bai Qian-chun closed the bedroom door and walked towards another room on the second floor. Fen Yuyu was convinced by her desperate spirit. Isn't this woman really tired? She still hasn't slept at night. He is tall and has long legs. He can keep up with Bai Qian-chun as soon as he takes a step. He can't shake her off like a piece of brown sugar. Wait for me, I'll come with you. Bai Qian-chun looked at him impatiently as she walked. What are you doing with me? You have nothing to do by yourself. Fen Yuyu said without changing his expression. Yeah, it's been a long night and I can't sleep. I have to find someone to talk to. If you don't want to talk to me, then I can help you by your side. See if you need help. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 197. Bai Qian-chun stopped and looked at him. Do you really want to help? Fen Yuyu raised the corners of his mouth, full of confidence, that can still be fake. Okay, I'm short of someone to test the medicine. Fen Yuyu, no, don't do it. Why do I, the noble Lord Fen, get the same treatment as those hateful women? But in the end, Fen Yuyu failed to be the one to test the medicine, because another room on the second floor opened. Although the pharmacy was fully furnished, the medicine cabinet was empty. The medicinal materials inside had long been stolen by the greedy kohlrabi star spirit. After eating all the food, Ye Yang and the others had no time to replenish it in just 3 days. Come on, the plan to make balls on the spot has to be postponed. Now they have to pick the medicinal materials in the dark. Fen Yuyu, who was originally only qualified to be a drug tester, can now be a free picker. In the pitch-black night, Fen Yuyu was speechless as he looked at the entwined plants in front of him, the twining shadows of various plants that were entangled so enchantingly that he couldn't distinguish between you and me. Is it too late for him to say that he is tired and wants to go back to set up a tent and sleep? Of course the answer is that it's too late. After all, is it possible that Bai Qian-chun can still let the duck fly? Fen Yuyu was led by her to get to know the herbs for most of the night, filling his ears with their medicinal properties, picking requirements, etc., and then he worked hard and patiently as a free herb collector with Bai Qian-chun. We shuttled among various herbs together, collecting them mechanically. In the middle of the night, Bai Qian-chun, the woman who worked harder, got more and more excited. She had picked all the herbs she needed, but she didn't leave. She said that she would stay and farm under this opportunity, and then she pulled him across the country. Planting giant trees and flowers, I came to the field behind the manor. Fenuyu's Adam's apple rolled as his whole body was soaked with all kinds of messy herbs, and he almost spurted out a mouthful of blood. How could this opportunity be better? Does he happen to be a free worker? He first complained about Bai Jianchun, a woman who was really a werewolf, and then mentally scolded Li Heun, who gave her a lot of herbs and herb seeds. In the end, although he was reluctant, he still accompanied Bai Jianchun to clear a patch of weeds, and then used his hand to dig the ground, sow seeds, and plant herbs. Conscientiously and diligently, the two of them worked like two tireless old oxen for another half of the night, until the sun rose and dawn broke, and when the light rose, they finally finished sowing all the seeds. Fenuyu straightened up, hammering his thin waist back with his right hand, and hammered his right arm with his left hand. He felt strange in his heart. The leader of the Fen group, which cost him millions of star coins every minute, would stay up most of the night with a woman, digging holes to bury seeds and grow medicinal materials. Is this reasonable? Fenuyu frowned. Unreasonable. When did he become so hopeless, and was actually being bossed around by a woman? The key is that after looking at the large herb seedlings that had been spawned by the woman's wood power, he actually felt a sense of accomplishment in his heart. All the depression was gone. Is this the charm of farming? Looking at the woman who was standing in front of the field and put away her fertility gestures, holding a hoe and slowly walking towards him, Fenuyu put down the hand that was hammering her arm and glanced at the green seedlings on the ground with a strange expression. Asked, "Why don't you just ripen them directly? You should be able to do it with your powers." Bai Jianchun rubbed his shoulder and walked out. "Yes, but I can't do that. Medicinal materials need to have their medicinal properties precipitated. If I directly mature them, they will lose most of their medicinal properties. This is different from when I restarted the wood before. The green beam of light that erupted from the Mu-UN star during the UN star was different from the rain. No matter how pure the wood elements in the wood-type superpowers were, they could not compare to the explosive infusion from the original source of the Mu-UN star. For example, your gold source star can breed minerals. Can you directly use gold elements to condense minerals or energy stones for use? Fenuyu seemed to understand. No, but I thought that the wood element and the gold element are different. The wood element can give birth to other vegetables and fruits. It seems to represent vitality, while minerals are dead things. We metal superpowers cannot. You can't just make it up out of thin air based on the elements. Bai Jianchun, you are right. The wood element does represent vitality. The fruits and vegetables that are produced are essentially different from those condensed by metal power users. However, some things lead to the same goal by different paths. Wood power users and metal superpowers are basically auxiliary. The most powerful ones are the wood source star, the gold source star, and the land. To form something, you need many elements, not just a single wood element or gold element. Otherwise, growing fruits and vegetables would still be difficult. Why do herbs have to be planted in the soil, or do they require plant culture medium when cultivated without soil? In short, after Bai Jianchun's succinct analysis, Fenuyu gave up asking about this option and chose the default attitude. Asking more questions might make him appear ignorant, which is not okay. Seeing him calm down, holding a hoe and rolling up his trousers, following her like a migrant worker returning from work, Bai Jianchun decided to give the free labor a good look and asked thoughtfully, "Are you planning to go back to rest or not? Go to the village for breakfast, they should have breakfast ready there." Fenuyu glanced at her and didn't answer in a hurry. Instead, he followed her into the two-story building. After putting the hoe back in place, he slowly lowered his head and glanced at his clothes. A set of Empire brand, handmade low-key, luxurious and connotative casual clothes worth several million. Now it is covered with messy green and red juice, as well as dirty soil. When soaked in water for a while, a large bucket of black color will emerge. The dirty water kind. In other words, he worked hard all night with others to plant the fields, and after working as a free labor force for one night, he even lost a piece of clothing worth millions. Fen Yu even felt that he was stupid. He had been working all night and looked a little tired. His peach blossom eyes were staring at the woman in front of him, but the woman was not moved at all. She was still full of energy and radiant. It was impossible to tell that she was also working hard. One night, Fen Yu had to re-examine himself. Could it be that he was getting old? No, he would never admit it. They were only 2 years apart. How could they be so old? Then he took the opportunity to make his request, "I want to take a bath, but there is no water pipe in the bathroom downstairs." Oh, Bai Qianchun frowned and suggested, "There is a lotus pond next to it. How about you take an open-air bath? Since no one is here, you don't have to worry about being seen." Fen Yu took a deep breath and rejected this heartless woman with a smile. "No, I want to take a hot bath. I've helped you work all night. You can't even take a hot bath if you can't satisfy me. Even if you are a free tool man, you can't be so ruthless, otherwise the free tool man will go on strike. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs." Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 198. Bai Qianchun immediately grasped the key point of being a free tool person. "Then you will continue to help me pick medicinal materials and plant the land tonight." Fen Yu choked and didn't want to continue being stupid. "If you don't help, I won't give you a hot bath." In the end, Fen Yu accepted the threat angrily and obtained the right to use the built-in bathroom in Bai Qianchun's bedroom, but the condition was that he would help her pick herbs and plant the fields for the next few nights. Fen Yu changed into a pair of slippers and floated into the bathroom as if he didn't know where his soul had flown. From opening the door to entering the bathroom, he didn't look away the whole time, especially the princess bed with floating gauze. I was stunned and didn't dare to take another look. If you look closely, you can see that the roots of his ears are reddish. Fen Yu, who has never been interested in women, actually reacted to entering a girl's bedroom. The unenlightened man realized later, and suddenly seemed to have awakened. Fortunately, Bai Qianchun went to the pharmacy next door to prepare the medicinal herbs and did not wait in the bedroom, otherwise Fen Yu would not even dare to turn the switch to the maximum to turn on the water. Yao Wengxian's thoughts were confused all day and night. When he looked at the Muyuan Star Airport where the connection was about to be completed and he was about to land, he felt for the first time a feeling of being close to home. Suddenly I no longer really want to go to Muyuan Star. Does the second child know that ancient medicine is equal to his poor little wife Bai Qianchun? Did the two recognize each other? A fight or a cold war? After asking 3 consecutive questions in his mind, Yao Wengxian sank into the soft sofa, his thoughts a little blank. "Fourth brother, why are you still here? Aren't you rushing to find the ancient medical lady who can make vitality pills? Why are you not in a hurry now?" Lao Liuguan Cao passed by with a toolbox in his hand. A look at his fourth brother showed suspicion on his rough face. Yao Wengxian sat up from the sofa, picked up the gold-rimmed eyeglasses placed next to him and put them on, then showed an impeccable smile to Lao Lu. "I didn't sleep well yesterday, so I squinted for a while. You have a toolbox in your hand, what to do?" "Oh," this Guan Cao lowered his head and glanced, "this is what my second brother told me to bring with me for use." "Fourth brother, hurry up, let's go to Muyuan Star. I heard from Adjutant Chuangshu that Muyuan there are a lot of fruits and vegetables on the star. He wants to buy more and go back to provide extra meals for the soldiers, but he still needs you, fourth brother, to explain the price. Also, Adjutant Chuangshu also said that the self-service barbecue on Muyuan Star is very good. To eat, the vegetarian buns and donkey rolls in the morning are also a must-have, and they are also very popular among the ladies. If we go there late, we will be gone." Guan Cao urged, speaking in a loud voice, and quickly walked towards the door of the starship. "Damn, this foodie just knows how to eat. Yao Wengzian cursed in his heart, but he still stood up, patted his wrinkled white shirt and suit pants, and followed. Lao Lu, please walk slower, I'm not in such a hurry to reincarnate as you are. Please tell me again, did Adjutant Chuangshu say anything else? Did anything special happen that had nothing to do with food? The old Liuguan Cao scratched his head, and the big man was at a loss. Ah, fourth brother, you are making things difficult for me, old Cao. Besides food, can I talk to Adjutant Chuangshu about anything else? I'm afraid that military secrets will be touched upon. Yao Wengzian choked and scolded him with a smile. I think you are a foodie and don't care about anything else. Guan Cao chuckled and said, fourth brother still understands me. Yao Wengzian slapped him on the shoulder, which was as broad and strong as a bear. Okay, who knows your virtues? Hurry up and leave. We are out, and there is Lao Chi. Where did Lao Chi go? Oh, he went to get the water pipe. The second brother asked him to bring the water pipe and the smart sprinkler head. The second brother probably wants to build a public bathroom on Muyuan planet. I heard that Muyuan planet is very simple. There is still nothing in the original state, almost the same as the garbage planet we used to live in. Yao Wengzian clicked his tongue twice and shook his head with a smile. That's different. The garbage star is an abandoned star by the Empire, but the Jupiter star is one of the 7 original stars. It belongs to the upper class. If nothing else, at least the environment is better than the garbage star. Thousands of times. As long as the star owner of Jupiter is capable, Jupiter will sooner or later become a prosperous planet similar to other superior stars. Ah, fourth brother, you are right, it is indeed different. This place is hundreds of times, thousands, and thousands of times better than the junk star Guan Cao side. It turned out that the two of them had already reached the stand of the starship while they were talking. Now that the stand was open, they could have a panoramic view of Muyuan star. When they looked at it, they could only see one word, green. Almost everything everywhere is green, with giant trees towering into the sky, and the vast forest is lush and green, which is what Guan Cao, a wood-type superpower, likes the most. He has liked the color green since he was a child and has awakened his wood power. However, due to pollution on the junk planet, they rarely see green, and plants have become the most precious and expensive things on the junk planet. I still remember that Guan Cao once found a grass with extremely strong vitality from the garbage dump. He dug the grass into a broken flower pot and raised it like jewels, but later he was targeted by a gang of adults. They wanted to snatch this little grass while Guan Cao was alone. Who knew that Guan Cao, who was originally kind and honest but seemed to be the least smart, would actually have great potential? Yao Wengzian only remembered that when the eldest sister got a tip from others and rushed back for rescue, Guan Cao was standing there covered in blood, while the group of people had been pushed into the garbage dump, lying in a mess, not knowing whether they were alive or dead. Mom, I didn't expect this kid to be a ruthless person. From then on, no one dared to underestimate Guan Cao, and Guan Cao became the 6th in their team with this victory. At this time, Guan Kouzheng's eyes were glowing green and he said excitedly, "Fourth brother, can I immigrate? I want to be a star citizen of Muyuan planet." Yao Wengzian held his forehead, and he actually had the idea that he would choose this way. He sorted out his words, "You are now a star citizen of Jinyuan star and are not under my control. Later you can ask your second brother, who is the Lord of Jinyuan star, to see how he gets along with the Lord of Muyuan star. The Source Star Lord can still give him a face and agree to let you become her star citizen." Guan Cao quickly nodded happily, "Yeah, I'll ask the second brother soon. The 7th brother is really slow, why isn't he here yet? I've been here a long time ago, but you guys were too slow." A man similar to Guan Cao came out from the other side of the pillar in front and complained, "I've been waiting here for a minute, and I just saw Adjutant Chuangshu lead the people on the second brother's Phoenix battleship out. Hurry up, maybe we can get a ride. Oh, hurry up, let's get out quickly. The three of them took 3 steps at a time and ran outside quickly. Even Yao Wengxian was no exception. He also wanted to ask Zhuangshu about something. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 199. When Yao Wengxian and the other 3 arrived at the open grassland of the Star Airport, Zhuangshu was straightening his back and speaking with a serious face. Your mission this time is to pick fruits and vegetables on Wuyuan planet. As long as you see anything you can eat, we pick them all and return to the village at 5 p.m. for a centralized inventory. The chief's wife said that today you can eat freely on Wuyuan planet. You can pick whatever you want. In the evening, everyone will be treated to a free buffet barbecue. The team that picks the most will be rewarded with 1,000 kilograms of fruits and vegetables. The type is up to you to choose. The commander also gave clear instructions. Each soldier participating in the picking can add a military merit point, but it is only for military merit exchange and is not responsible for the military rank within the legion. Do you understand? I understand. The well-trained soldiers wearing camouflage uniforms lined up in a square formation, each with their backs straight and passionate, and their resolute faces were full of eagerness to try after the words fell. Okay, let's go. The soldiers instantly broke into pieces and were divided into more than 10 teams. All the captains began to gather their team members. Team 1, follow me to the south, where there are the most red fruits. Yes, Captain. Team 2, let's go north. I saw the durian tree. Let's eat this for lunch. Yes, Captain, Captain is mighty. The captains of other teams were not far behind. We, the teammates of the third team, also went north to grab their durians and grab their first place. We tried to get free fruits and vegetables so that the chief's wife would remember our abilities. Oh, the captain is right, get ahead of them. Swish, swish, each one of the camouflage uniforms were well trained and jumped out with vigorous movements. In a short while, they plunged into the vast forest. The leaves rustled a few times, and the people disappeared. In just a few seconds, Zhuangshu was the only one left standing in the starry skyport where there had been a group of people just now. He turned his feet in military boots neatly and looked in the direction of Yao Wengxian and the others, his serious expression relaxed. He smiled a little, and even had a slight smile on his lips. Manager Yao is here. It was a very simple and casual greeting, no different from usual. But the look in Yao Wengxian's eyes, who was not at peace at this moment, made him think uncontrollably. He rubbed his temples, walked over on his own initiative, raised the corners of his lips and asked with a smile, "Here we come, I happen to hear Adjutant Zhuangshu. What about the majestic instruction? Why did the Sir's wife issue a mission to pick fruits and vegetables on the Wuyuan planet? Such generosity is not in line with the ancient doctor's style of demanding money." Zhuangshu raised his eyes suspiciously on his face. "Don't you know, Manager Yao, that our chief's wife is the Lord of Wuyuan Star?" What? Yao Wengxian opened his mouth wide and his ears were buzzing. After hearing this new identity, his jaw almost dropped in shock. His mind had not yet recovered from the confusion about Bai Qianchun, the poor wife of the ancient doctor who was equal to the second child. Now another one was delivered to him. Such a heavy impact caused his face to turn red and he was in a trance. He was unable to regain his speech function for a long time. Seeing his shocked expression, Zhuangshu smiled happily. It turns out that Manager Yao didn't know about it before. It seems that our chief's wife is really low-key and hides her identity very well. But speaking of it, our chief has a good taste. Without knowing it, he was able to find a hidden gem like our wife among millions of people. Aren't the Lord of Jinyuan Star and the Lord of Muyuan Star a perfect match and have the same status? As he spoke, Zhuangshu's interest in gossip changed from the secret poking in his heart to the overt interest. He pulled Yao Wengxian and continued talking, speaking of which, our chief and his wife were still having fun as a couple before. I just knowing that our chief will leave the main star and go to the shaking star in person, he must be going to pick up the chief's wife who has run away from home. However, the chief refused to admit it and pretended not to know the chief's wife without telling me. But who am I? These piercing eyes have long seen that the relationship between them is unusual, and the sweet aura between this couple standing together is different from ordinary people. Yao Wengxian's thoughts were confused. He knew every word separately, but he couldn't understand them when put together. Why did the chief come out from the main star to go to the shaking light star in person? It must be to pick up the chief's wife who ran away from home. Didn't the second brother go to shaking star to investigate the person behind the disappearance of Li Chao and Jin Leisha? Why do the chief and his wife pretend not to know each other? It can't be the second child. He really didn't recognize his wife. And what the hell do you have those piercing eyes? You could tell that even the second person didn't know that she was his wife? Then he heard Zhuangshu say again, "Ah, by the way, Manager Yao, do you know that the sir's wife is the ancient doctor who made the vitality pill? Sir, it's so shameless that you didn't tell us this in advance. I have to ask you to come over and negotiate the purchase contract with the chief's wife." Hey, I know, this must be a little fun between them as husband and wife. If Feng's cousin had not exposed the identity of the chief's wife in public yesterday, the chief would not have known that he had to hide it. How long do we have? The corner of Yao Wengxian's mouth twitched. What a humming little fun between husband and wife. He was sure that yesterday's public scene was the first time the second child knew that the ancient doctor was his poor little wife. Yao Wengxian was no match for anyone, so he nodded and pretended to be calm. "Oh, I've known for a long time that the ancient doctor is your chief's wife. A few hours earlier is also early." Zhuangshu glanced at him with small eyes and said in a slightly sour voice, "Oh, that's good. Manager Yao has indeed been the chief's friend since childhood. Alas, as the chief's closest lieutenant, it is true that he still does not have the chief's greatest trust. He has to work harder. So, this misunderstanding passed by accident." Zhuangshu took the lead and led Yao Wengxian, who was in a daze and still immersed in the world of shock and confusion, toward the path, followed by two strong men, Lao Lu and Lao Qi, who also had their jaws dropped. The second sister-in-law is the ancient doctor who made the vitality pill and saved their lives. The second sister-in-law is also the star master of Muyuan planet. They didn't know this at all before. The two looked at each other. They had previously discussed that the second sister-in-law was timid and cowardly and not worthy of their outstanding and wealthy second brother, but now, they were a perfect match, a perfect match. The two people who came out of the garbage star have always believed in respecting the strong and respected people with special abilities. Obviously their second sister-in-law is this kind of person and deserves their respect and admiration. At this moment, they abandoned their previous depression and doubts and truly became convinced of the second sister-in-law whom they had not yet met. The second brother didn't tell them before because he wanted them to change their mindset on the junk planet and stop looking down on others. Now they understand that the second brother and the fourth brother have really good intentions. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 200. Yao Wengxian, who had no idea that his image was getting better in the eyes of his two younger brothers, had been walking behind Zhuangshu for half an hour now, and he didn't even think about the speeding incident just now. A group of 4 people stepped on the quiet path, looking at the red ribbons around them and the faint voices coming from the front. Yao Wengxian finally digested the matter and was in a mood to look at the surrounding scenery. What are these red ribbons hanging for? I see some kind of venue is being built over there. Oh, that's the venue where the Xue family will hold their wedding ceremony. Yao Wengxian was surprised. The Shui family? What's your background? You can actually hold the first wedding after the restart of Muyuan Star. It's such a great honor. Zhuang Shu scratched his head. Well, I heard that the mother-in-law of the Shui family was from the star people of Muyuan planet, and she went out after getting married. This time they happened to come to visit relatives and met the star master who restarted Muyuan planet. Seeing, he took the initiative to request the star owner to hold a wedding here. The bride, manager Yao, should also know her. She is a girl named Sheng Xiaoxiao. You and the chief's eldest sister are a branch of the Sheng family. It is said that they helped you in the beginning. Some things. Hey, it's a pity that the chief and his wife are not the first couple to hold a wedding after the restart of Muyuan planet. Last night, Major General Shen Baining also urged the chief to hold a wedding, and strive to become the second couple to hold a wedding on Muyuan planet. Here's the newcomer. Ahem. Hold a wedding. Yao Wengxian choked on his saliva and coughed. The eldest sister is indeed the eldest sister. This hardcore urge to get married is absolutely amazing. Are you okay? Zhuang Shu stopped and looked over with concern. It's okay, Yao Wengxian waved his hand and continued with a strange look on his face. Then what happened next? Did your commander agree? When are you planning to hold the wedding? The question was asked with a hint of gloating. Oh, look, how do you continue to play the second child's drama? Holding a wedding is different from registering a marriage. You have to kiss your bride at the wedding. With the temperament and strength of the ancient doctor, can he stand obediently and let him kiss her? Unless it costs tens of billions to make her unable to refuse, it is possible. Sure enough, I heard Zhuang Shu say, the officer hasn't said anything yet. He said he was going to ask the officer's wife, but as soon as he went there, he received news that the officer's wife was tired and wanted to go back to rest, so the matter was shelved for the time being. But it seems that Major General Baining hasn't given up yet. He said he would come over and ask in person today. Oh, my eldest sister just cares about our life events. Yao Wengxian's voice was calm, as if he had expected it, but the corners of his mouth were raised high, as he watched some good shows and some good ones. After a few casual words, he hurriedly walked forward. Only Lao Lu and Lao Qi behind him sighed with Zhuang Shu sincerely, and also looked forward to the wedding. The stone house where the Star Citizens live is just ahead. There are quite a lot of people there. Yao Wengxian looked at a group of people walking out of the village gate. They were still holding buns and rolling donkeys wrapped in leaves. They were all smiling while stuffing buns into their mouths and rolling on donkeys. Among them, there are also several aristocratic ladies who have openly said that they like their middle-aged men in public. They also look the same. They eat while walking, the makeup on their faces fades, and they wear pants and sneakers for the first time in a century. They don't care. The cheeks of his eating posture were bulging, just like a little squirrel eating only pine nuts. Yao Wengxian. Why, he had only been away from the main star for more than 10 days, and all these noble ladies were possessed by evil spirits. Miss Jiao is so down to earth among the people? Also, didn't they chase the men to Muyuan planet just to steal the limelight from the men? What's going on with everyone eating here and there now? Looking back, the third princess Jin Yushin was wearing a long aqua dress and a round and plump pearl necklace around her neck. She was walking towards the village gate in a bright and beautiful dress. She was followed by 5 or 6 noble ladies. She is also flamboyant, wearing a skirt and high heels, showing off her arrogance, but her persona remains intact. Well, this is the correct way for aristocratic ladies to open up, even though it is stupid to walk in high heels on the cobbled ground. Mr. Yao Qin Yushin calmed down after a night's rest. She no longer lost her crazy gaffe yesterday, and returned to her usual elegance and calmness. When she saw Yao Wengxian, she greeted him politely with an elegant smile. Facing Zhuang Shu and Lao Lu and Lao Qi behind him, he slightly raised his red lips and nodded. Hello, Third Princess Yao Wengxian pushed up his glasses, revealing a shrewd and polite face, but there was alienation hidden deep in his eyes with a gentle smile. Mr. Yao, are you here to find Lord Feng? He should be in the village. Why don't we look for him together? Qin Yushin invited with a smile. Zhuangshu frowned and looked at her with vigilance on his serious face. As a shrewd lieutenant who is vigilant, observant, and imaginative, he could tell yesterday that the third princess had special feelings for his elder. It's still that kind of paranoid and twisted feeling, so he doesn't think the sentence is just a casual invitation. This woman must have some purpose. He has to reject her, isolate her, and be on guard against her. She must not let her ruin the relationship between the chief and his wife. He stood firmly on the side of the chief's wife. Yao Wengxian was also a keen person, and he saw Zhuangshu's expression calmly. He curled his lips, and was about to refuse politely but gracefully, when out of the corner of his eye he saw a woman covered in blood and in embarrassment. Someone jumped out from the corner and stumbled towards the side. His eyes flashed and he stepped aside, and the woman fell directly at Qin Yushin's feet. Her hands, which were mixed with blood and mud, quickly grabbed Qin Yushin's elegant pearl-scent dress, raised her head, revealing a face that looked miserable with its flesh turned outwards. A hoarse and dry voice shouted sternly, Third Princess, save me, save my face, my face." Qin Yushin's elegant smiling face froze, and the muscles on her face twitched. She tried her best to control the urge to kick the person out. She suppressed her fake smile and lowered her head in surprise. "Oh, is it Sci-Fi? Don't cry, hurry up, come and help lift Sci-Fi up." The few ladies behind her looked away in disgust, and most of them were gloating. They didn't want to help this embarrassed woman at all. They were plastic sisters who were in competition and disliked each other before. She made them miserable now. It was too late for the child to cover his mouth and be happy. But when the third princess glanced at her, they quickly stopped their smiles and pretended to be concerned. "Oh, Sixiang, what's wrong with you? Who beat you like this? This is too bad."